All right. So, welcome everybody to the Art of Learning Self Love. I'm Darla Williams. I am your guide through this. Um, Today, I am actually wanting to talk about the call. But what I'm going to start with is 1 Samuel 3 1 through 10. And the reason I'm starting with this is because through my journey of coming to understanding of where I am as my soul sovereign being is I would really found that space and coming into it through the Bible. And I came to an understanding that I wasn't separate from God, and God wasn't separate from me, and I was 100% um, united. And so I found a lot of scriptures along the way that helped me to give me a lot of guidance and understanding so that it layered a foundation for me that left me so solid that it didn't matter whether or not I was in a church pew, if I was sitting on the side of the road, or where I was, it was giving me the knowledge that I needed. So, 1 Samuel 3 1 through 10. The boy Samuel ministered before the Lord under Eli. In those days, the word of the Lord was rare. There were not many visions. One night, Eli, whose eyes were becoming so weak he could barely see, was lying down in his usual place. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the temple of the Lord where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me?" And Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." So he went and he laid down. Again, the Lord called Samuel. And Samuel got up and he went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me?" "My son," Eli said, "I did not call you. Go back and lie down." Now, Samuel did not know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not been revealed to him. The Lord called Samuel a third time. And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me?" Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, "Go and lie down. If he calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and laid down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling as at the other times, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel said, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." When that took place, years, back in the early whatever time frame it really was, because I don't have that part written down right now. But during that space when that story was written, here was a child that had been delivered and given to the church. And in that, sorry, my phone is ringing. But in that, what happened was he was Hannah, which was the mother, gave birth to a child. And because she had not been able to give birth for so many years, she sacrificed herself and her one child for her to have more children. So she took and gave the child to the Lord as an offering. So this child became property of the church, part of the church, and part of a development. Now, does any of that make sense to us today? No. But that was what they did back then. And in that, here, this child who had been left. How many times do we see in today's world a child left behind, abandoned, left alone? The purpose of this story is to show you, no matter how much alone you really are in that space, when you call when you're in your when you're meant for something bigger and a calling is upon your life, you're still going to hear that voice from within. That spirit is still going to speak forth, and you're going to know what you you'll get a knowing of what you are called to. But over the time, what I found is here we are servants unto others. We love people so much that we are willing to give of our talents and our time in our abilities to help one another. So being called is a heavy space, but it's for the affirming, the love, the direction, and the development of others around us. And so our story is just what it is that we were meant to have, to be that guidance to help others around us. And those who are meant for our story will gather in and hear the things that we have been through, because it is a roadmap and a blueprint to help others. Since the foundation of creation, we were created to be of service to one another, bringing help to one another. How many times in life have you felt called to help another? Would anybody like to share a story? Yes, Rayanne. Trying to look at my notes because I can't see nobody.
I wanted to come today and see your class, and
You
I'm
are
glad,
amazing.
I'm glad that I did. Well, I must say, Walter and I were very called, at a very many years ago. We received a little boy who nobody wanted, and we took care of him till his 20th birthday, and he passed on. Um, but I've seen lots of miracles along the way, just that were incredible, and I felt very led by God, um, because things would happen. Like he was always up against different things, and somehow this little miracle would happen, or and I always listened to that voice. So I really understand that, and um, it has given me a great love for other people as well, because I think what I learned through it, I was thinking about this the other day, was just that I really enjoy building people up and seeing their dreams realized. And I think that's what Noble Goldman will do for me as I move forward. And I'm also back at school now. So I guess I'll see where my journey goes, but it's always been helping people. And I've had a heart for the underdog always. And but I do feel like I really listen, like, to that voice of, okay, what do I do next? Or I pray about it, or um, and I just let that voice lead me to the next road. Because before I used to, I could understand what you were saying when there was times I'd cry tears of wanting to have something happen for someone. But as I just sort of sat and listened to my own intuition, and the little miracles would come. And so that's just what I wanted to share, is that the road is paved with little blessings along the way. Just listen to them, and they will guide you um, to a beautiful place. And it's nice to be here with you all.
I am so grateful you're here, and thank you for sharing and being just so open. I appreciate you. Who else do I have?
I can relate something, Darla. This is Kim Riley, not Dr.
Yes,
Kim. She's
Kim.
also here.
Go ahead.
I, when I think of, and there's many times I'm a bystander, or I don't want to pay attention, or I walk by, and I'm always aware of that and thinking, oh, what can I do other than walk by? But there's one time I was in Southern California for a training, a coach training, one of my coach trainings. And the morning before our last day of that training, it was a 3-day training, I went to the beach to go for a run. I went for a run. Before I started the run, I saw there were several cars parked in the parking lot, and there was a woman in the parking lot just sitting in her car. She was in her driver's seat, just sitting in the car. And I noticed that she had, as I ran by her car, I noticed that she had several pill bottles on the dash, or I saw them somehow through the window, which was interesting now that I'm saying that. But anyway, I went for my run and came back and got in my car, which was across the way from hers, and drove away. But then I drove away, I drove like 2 blocks and I was like, wait a minute. It's like, wait a minute, there's a woman there. Maybe she's advertising herself, so to speak, by having her pill bottles on the dash. I don't know. But this woman is in this moment, in some struggle, in some misery. And it's like, what am I gonna do? Am I really gonna just drive away and go, oh, I'll go to my own life, you deal with yours? And I was like, no. So I turned around, I drove back, I parked right next to her, and I went up to her driver's side window and I knocked on the window. I'm like, shit, this one's about to OD. She's or whatever. She's about to pop all these pills, right? Knock on the window. She opens her window slowly. It's a dark shaded window. And I just said, hey, I just wanted to know how you're doing. I don't even know what I said. And she goes, well, I just got kicked out of my house. So there was some story she had. Like don't even remember all of it. And she didn't speak that long, but she was very depressed. I mean, she was very kind of taken in the moment. And I said, I don't know if I asked her, I said, well, can I give you a hug or something like that? She opened her door, she stood up, and I gave her a hug. And I just said, that was it. I just said, I'm here. Somebody, I don't know what I said, but she gave me a hug and she goes, wow, I've not had, I don't know what she said either. I've not had something like that, or I needed that, or I don't know what it was. And that was it. I gave her a hug. She got back into her car. I got back into my car and then I left. So I don't know what happened to that woman, but I knew at the time that I couldn't, that was something. I didn't know. I was in a place I didn't know, a town I didn't know of. Where can you go? Where can you get your next, meal? Or
You were called to an intervention at a
yeah, it was
moment
just
in
that brief.
her life. And who knows what the verdict or the circumstance, and that's not our space, but who knows whether or not that miraculous moment for her was just enough to know that there were guiding angels that were walking along her life. And that's how we get used in our world around us, is when we are really truly tuned in to who we are and what we're supposed to be doing for one another. We really will take that time. And what seems to be amazing is no matter how much it seems like it could take forever to express something, but by the time you get back to what you're supposed to be doing, it's almost like time stands still and allows you the moment when you're around those people doing what you're supposed to be doing. And it's so rewarding, because you will find in your own personal life, because you're listening and following those guidings within, you will find that your whole world meets you. Like Ruthie says, in a holy instant, when you're in a space, the world just shifts and meets you. So how, we walk in miracles, we walk as manifestors, creating the world in which we want to live, when we're doing what we're supposed to be called to do. And that's the reason it comes and meets us. It's when we turn inward, begin loving ourselves, doing what we need to begin finding what's necessary for our life, so that we are in right standing and going forward, doing what's necessary with everyone around us. When we get in that servant mode, not saying give up your whole life and just go out there and, go become a monk. I'm not saying that. I mean, if you're called to do it, please do it. But, because we need them. But at the same time, I'm just saying, when you're walking out your day to day, be mindful of those around you. Because when you are mindful, you hear what's necessary, you know what's needed, and you know when to show up, and you're always right on time. And that always brings it right back to you. Because when you give what you give, you receive. And I've got 2 others raising hands. Let me see who's going. I'm not sure which of you rose your hand first, so someone can let me know.
Rayanne had her hand up, honey.
Okay, Rayanne, go ahead.
actually forgot to take it down, but one thing actually I did just think of there is that um, is when you're helping people too, do it from your heart, but also from a comfort level. I think because I've sort of lived in times where I've helped people a lot and kind of gone overboard, and then at the same time, what I've learned to do is do it from my heart and go to that level and not take it past, but still dream for that person what you would like to see for them next, maybe when they can't dream.
Right. Just a second.
Good morning, everyone. Remember, it's this way. We will save the world.
There we go. Sorry. And now, Miss Kasha, go ahead, because I know it was your turn.
Well, I'm glad that Elizabeth is smiling at my waving technique. Yes, good job, Elizabeth. So, I said that story about me probably a few times, but I'm gonna repeat it because I'm not sure if you heard it, Darla. When I was young, my mom was like crazy about mushroom picking. So whenever there was a season, we would be spending thousands and thousands and thousands of hours every day in a forest to pick up mushrooms. And that was very, very, very good and fun time. I loved it. I loved it for numbers of reasons. And, it was healthy to be in the healthy forest that was not poisoned, and, really good oxygen and be around the nature. And I love that. But I remember many times when I used to walk to the, those like piles of needles that they were built by ants. I cannot pronounce it correctly.
Ants.
And I was always amazed by those creatures. And I was always thinking like, wow, what amazing organization, how everything is coordinated, how they are doing everything to support their own ecosystem. And I always had that, whenever I saw them, I was always having that, contemplation that, one day I will be a part of something like that, something big like this. And there we are.
We are. That is beautiful. And the ant is very amazing. They work together in a teamwork. They really do make the dream work when it comes to whatever they're doing. I love how ants work together.
And there are a lot, and about helping others. I've been helping, and sometimes I was even helping some, trying to help homeless, but I was not successful with that. I remember many times in Poland, people, when you leave the big stores, they would, beg for money. And then each time my husband would ask those people, like, are you really hungry? Because, people would stand, next to the grocery store, and, they would say, yeah. And over so many times we offered help. My husband said, okay, let's go to the store. Tell me, what would you like to have? What do you would like to eat? I will buy it for you. And out of so many times, only one time the guy left the store, and we watched him, going to whatever corner and getting into that food and really eating. And the rest of them, we practiced this many times. And the rest of them, they would just go with us and dump the food to the garbage. So it's interesting how that whatever phrase or story people repeat, it's not that easy to give somebody a fish. It's better to show them how to go and fish themselves, because most people would not see the value with the fish itself. And it's so sad, because it's sad to watch those people begging. And I see so many people begging on the corners, And unfortunately, from so many previous experience of mine, I don't trust those people. And actually one time, my daughter was shopping at the store that evening, and she was parked at the parking lot, and she finished her shopping, was just waiting for her friend to come back to the car, and there was another car driving without the driver and hit her car and another car.
Oh.
And what we found out with the whole convolution of the story, the car was the girl's father car that they both were usually begging by the corner. She was stoned, she was drunk, and then she had issues with the car. So she had to start it in some stupid way. So the car started driving backwards because it was on the reverse.
See, that's
And
the
I've
purpose of, sorry. I
and
didn't
I've
mean to
seen them
interrupt.
so many times on the corner begging for money, pretending they have no money. And then with the accident, we actually found out that they are not that poor.
Right.
So it's so crazy that we are exposed to different, let me say I'm poor, I'm bad, or in bad situation. So it's hard to give those people money. It's really hard. I don't like giving them money because, I do give money, but different ways.
Right. See, that's why we have to listen to that internal compass. And that internal compass allows us to navigate through a calling of helping someone versus just being available to everyone around us. I mean, yes, you want to be as available as possible, but we also want to make sure that we're listening to the divine and the callings of our life so that we're actually getting, I don't know if anybody can hear me or see me right now.
I see you.
Okay. Well, I just had a frozen screen and I wasn't sure if it was my end and whether or not I was having some problems. So, but I mean, when we're looking at everything in life, we know that, like Kasha was saying, we can come up against some things and see some real addictions, painful events and circumstances, and people locked into the paradigm where they are continuing cycles and they don't even know how to break free. So those people, yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Oh, no, I just wanted to just say, I think that that's it. I think that, first of all, there is that, you just sort of get this insight and impulse, sometimes in regards to people, and you just go, if not me, who? I think that that's what it's all about. I'm recalling an experience. I used to be part of a twinless twin support group because my twin sister committed suicide 11 years ago. And I remember being online, it was late at night, and this young woman's brother, she was a twin, and her brother committed suicide. And her mom was withholding the information from her about the details of everything that happened. And I had that experience also where my brother-in-law was not really forthcoming with any of the information about the details. And I just remember her struggle, and I remember just her pain. And she was reaching out to people and asking for questions, and I just finally just kind of just sort of talked her down from, she was angry at her mother and she was angry at the circumstances, and she was kind of in a blaming mode with her mom, and basically it was sort of I used the tenets of, like, just really deeply listening to what she was struggling with. And I could hear in her voice that she was really one of the things that happens sometimes in those circumstances is it's really hard, especially when we're younger, it's really hard for us to put ourselves in the position of our parents, you know? And so I just basically just listened to what she was saying about her mom and how unfair she thought. And I said, yeah, you know, you really think that your mom's being unfair, you know, I hear that, you know. And, you know, and then she was, you know, she was just kind of going into her whole struggle with all of the circumstances that surrounded it. And, you know, anyway, she was just, it was just difficult at the time because she was so emotional for her to just be able to see her mom's position and why her mom would do that, you know. And I just remember by the end of the conversation, I was able to just sort of get her to understand that she wasn't the only one that was going through the pain of it. You know, I think that she was sort of not in a place really at that time, and who is, you know, to be able to
Right.
just kind of put herself in her mom's position. And, you know, by the end of the conversation, it was one of those, it was late night. I was just about ready to tuck myself in. And I was just like, no, this young woman really needs somebody to talk to, you know. And I just remember feeling by the end of the conversation that she really was able to just kind of see it from a different perspective, you know, and see it from a completely different point of view, to the point where she was starting to ask herself the questions about like how her mom felt about it, you know, and what position it put her mom in, and really invoke some empathy in her, you know. And you know, I mean, who out of any of us can't think of how many different times we have talked people down off the ledge, you know? And that's the way I look at it. It's just like, you know, just talking people down off of a ledge sometime of just whatever. I mean, the hateful thoughts that come up, the fearful thoughts that come up, the angry thoughts that come up. And, you know, it's just that, you know, sometimes we just get this little voice in our head that just says, nope, it's time for you to just be that person. Be the person that's gonna, you know, take that call to action and help them. So, and it was a really beautiful thing, you know, and she just continued to keep talking with me, and it was really great. It just made, you know, it made me feel peace in my heart around my own circumstances too. So
That's what I was going to ask you, is because you had already been through your own and you could really, you knew what she needed because you knew what you hadn't received yet. So being
absolutely,
that person, being able to deliver what was necessary, that's how we become our own hero in our story.
yes,
And that's that
absolutely,
moment that we're able to actually realize how much we're fulfilling the calls of who we are and what we're doing, because we now know that what we once needed, we're now able to set up and give it to those around us. And that's why,
absolutely,
that's when we know that we're walking out what we're called to do. Because when we're sitting and searching and looking for the answers to the things that we need, the reason we are searching is because we are the resolver of that circumstance. And we can now find the resource within ourselves, wherever outside, we find and locate the information. And then we become the beacon of light to those around us, to share and navigate them. And all we are is just it's like a light post. Here we are. Now I'm shining the light because I'm going to take you not only to this, but I'm taking you through this so that you can go on to be something for someone else.
absolutely.
That
Yeah.
is our
And
process.
yeah.
So I have one more question in regards to the call. How many times have you found yourself receiving in a call because you were calling out? I got 5 minutes on that. Anybody want to contribute? If not,
Well,
Ray,
I mean, I can,
oh,
sure,
I
go
was
ahead,
going to have Rayanne go.
go.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think what I want to say is that NG has been that for us, and you know, even like every week as we went through our grief, we were on Vicky's call for in her grief group, and that was really awesome. Like Walter and I felt very supported all through our times we were going through that, and also it was really neat when other people came on the call and we could support them as well. And there's just a beautiful feeling being able to do that, to be able to give back when you've grieved, and then you can send that love their way.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think it's been, and going on to other groups, just being able to share and be there for people and seeing the results that, you know, you've helped them through that time, but you've seen them shine as well, and be able to shine for others.
Thank you. I appreciate you for sharing that. And grief is such a touchy situation. It's such a hard space to navigate through because it causes such a wound within. Dr. Kim, I'm going to let you jump in because I know you know what to say right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Just 1 second, I can pull over. Your question, Darla, reminded me of this time in my life not too long ago. Only about 2 or 3 years ago, I was in a domestic violence survivors group, and the leader was a woman named Kelly, and I was really down and out. My depression and anxiety were through the roof, and the despair was really palpable. And she said to me, Kim, I have an assignment for you. And I was like, okay, rolling my eyes. What's this going to be? And she said, I want you to create 5 minutes of joy for yourself. I was like, what are you talking about? How can I do that? What do you mean create joy? Joy just happens. You know, if everything's going great in life, joy happens, right? And she said, no, I want you to create 5 minutes of joy for yourself every day between now and next week. And promise me you will do that. And, you know, Kelly was the kind of person, you keep your promises when you talk to Kelly. And I went home that night and sat on my couch. I'll never forget this. Had a red couch at the time. And my black cat Tucker came over, sat on my lap, and I petted him for 5 minutes. And I realized, oh my gosh, this brings me joy. I have the power to create joy, which after almost 8 years of severe depression and anxiety, I had totally forgotten I had any power to do much of anything other than survive. And I will always remember Kelly for giving me that assignment. And pretty much every day since then, I create moments of joy, sometimes days of joy, sometimes weeks of joy. And it's such a privilege to be a creator and to be one who has been called and know that she is called. And she's here to help others know that she's been called. So thank you.
Thank you. That is beautiful. I am so glad you shared that. Being able to actually express a joy and bring joy to others in that expression, that is just a true gift. Thank you, Dr. Kim.
Thank you.
So what I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to do is if you have anything in your life this week that has come up against you in just your circumstances, like for myself personally, I'm going to go deal with a heavy situation with my dad today. I'm going to take the emotional overload that comes with that story and I'm taking it to the fountain. If there's anything in any of your lives that is just overwhelming, that's brought sadness, pain, hurt, grief of any sort, I want you to go ahead and know that right now you can take that and transmute the emotional pain and discharge that into the ground away from you. So if you are first new in here, Rayanne is one who's new in here. I just want you to know what we do is I have been just given a beautiful gift. And that gift came from a dream of how to take things into the garden and into the fountain. And what happens is we allow that light to come in through the crown chakra, down through the body, all the way out into the ground, and just dispel, remove, bury anything that is no longer serving, and then bring the light back up and through, and then restore to what is rightfully ours from the foundations of creation, of what was intended from us from the beginning, and then be able to restore in our hearts and our mind and in our bodies what's meant to be ours instead. So what I want everybody to do is go ahead and close your eyes and imagine yourself right now standing in a beautiful garden. While you're standing there, right before you appears the fountain. That fountain is large and massive in size, so large that you can step up and step up and step into the fountain. As you step down into the waters, that cooling sensation just starts to surge through you from your feet all the way to your head. You can feel that vibration of that water coming through you because you can see the cascading waters, the light effect waters coming down before you. I want you to go ahead and step into that fountain. As that water pours down into the top of your mind, I want you to take that story of whatever came up, that heaviness, that pain, the sadness, the overwhelm, the grief, anything that goes into those stories for you, feeling loss. I want you to go ahead and allow that light to come in and sweep away all of the painful feeling of that. Bring that down into the jaw, into the throat, anything that goes along with that story so that your throat can be cleared, down into the shoulders, down your arms, into your fingertips, back up and into your heart, into the center of who you are. Anything that affects and tugs upon the heart, let that wash away so there is nothing residual causing any discomfort, but just total understanding. Down into the solar plex, into the sacral, and into the root of who we are, so that we can stand firm and tall in who we are. Down through the legs, into the calves, and into the feet, taking this vibration and this story and depositing it into the ground as far away from us as possible. Removing, cleansing, restoring, only allowed to flow through us. Deposit that story as far away from you as possible into the ground that is no longer serving. Bring back up just the light into the feet, into the calves, into the thighs, into the root of who you are, into the sacral, into the solar plex, into the heart, down the arms, into the fingertips, back up into the throat, allowing you to stand in full authority and speak your truth, up into the jaw and into the mind, back up into the heavenlies. And here's where we just ask for the restoring of what is rightfully ours from the foundations of the earth, bringing back into the mind, allowing that to just flow in, rearrange us, bring us back into complete balance in our mind, down into the jaw, into the throat, so that we speak only truth and love, down into the shoulders, down the arms, into the fingertips, up into the heart so that it can be warm, restored, healed, into the solar plex, into the sacral, into the root of who we are, down into our thighs, into our calves, and into our feet, back up, into the thighs, into the root. This time, go ahead and bring that all the way up, straight up the elevator of our spinal column into our mind, and then back into the heavenly so that we can be totally restored and healed and be thankful for the healing restoration power today. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Would anyone like to share how that experience was for them?
I just love the fountain, Darla, to begin with. I loved that image.
Thank
I mean,
you.
the rest of it as well, the up and the down and all that, but I could really place myself there, just being in that fountain where it was washing, washing, washing. So I loved that piece. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Darla, what I like about this that I think what I've been doing with different meditation with different cleansing methods, I was like always getting into my body kind of like a wind, like going like turbine, going, so like trying to do not miss even one corner or spot or something. Then I have my own technique with the broom and with other things, with other tools. So and that was kind of like the way how I was doing it, because whenever I was going through meditations and cleansing, I was like, no, there's still always something. So each time on my own, I was visualizing kind of the same way how you do it, but with different actions. So I think the most important what you do, you are just literally going through the whole thing inside. And this is so powerful because people don't understand how important it is that even you think that you are cleansing here or your heart, but then you still have your fingers and toes with small spaces where shit can be shitely stored. So that's the very big power of that, what you are doing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So, like, for myself personally, when I had a dream that brought me to that space, going, and it was literally like a heavenly space that I got to walk through, and I was guided through it with angels that just walked me through. And then it was my own personal experience of being able to go into that. And then it was given and deposited into me to bring back to help others from that dream state into the reality. And it is such a blessing to be able to watch others come through that fountain and on the other side find them relieved from the overwhelming sensations that are going on, and being able to wash themselves of the story. And that's all we're doing, is we're wrapping ourselves in a story and causing ourselves to be in discomfort constantly by reminding ourselves over and over on the story. So how do we shift and change that story? We reach out and find others who can help us navigate through it. So there are many people in this group with Noble Goldman. I may not be the one for you, but there's somebody here that can help you. Even if it is just me. Either way, I hope that I can help more people come to healing restoration each and every day.
Thank you, Darla.
Thank
This
you.
is
have
awesome.
a beautiful way. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. This was beautiful. I feel like a tuning fork,
Oh,
and I feel like just so amazing. Like it just completely shifted my vibration. It was really wonderful. Thank you.
I love you all. Blessings, love, and light. And I
Blessings.
will see you all throughout the week.
And Darla, blessings
Bye,
for your
everybody.
father also.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
absolutely.
I'm gonna
Thank
go
you.
ahead and wrap this up and go ahead and get on my journey for the day. Anybody need me? Y'all know you can message me. I'll find time.
And Darla, if you need me, reach out, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
We're
I'll
sending
probably-
love your dad's way. We're
I am
sending
definitely
love.
probably gonna reach out tomorrow. I'm gonna need someone tomorrow when I come back home. So
Sending love. Blessings, everyone.
love y'all. Bye for now.